Hey YouTube, it's Kowalski here, bringing you my match against the Shadow Projekt from YouTube and various forums. Coincidentally, we both led with Gengars. I was hoping that he'd maybe switch out, expecting the Shadow Ball, and I'd get a Hypnosis off. Either way, I wanted to try and get a Hypnosis off. Luckily I won the speed tie, but Hypnosis didn't hit, which really sucked. I was sashed, but I really didn't want to activate it so early because this is a special Gengar, and because it was already down to 1 HP, I couldn't really use the full potential of it. So I wasn't going to risk trying to win another speed tie, and took the safe bet and went to Blissey. And he Shadow Balled again, which was great since I resisted it, but either way, he was not going to leave much of a dent in Blissey with a Gengar. So I knew he was going to switch out at that point, and I went with T-Wave anyway, just because it's always nice to T-Wave something. But as you can see later on, he had a Heracross, so it's really odd that he didn't switch that in. So I knew his Blissey was going to try to do the same, and because of that I went to Swampert, and I predicted right, and he had to waste a turn and switch out. And I knew he was going to switch at that point, so I roared away. Unfortunately he went to Gengar, which would have been nice to waterfall and get some damage on it. This time I thought he might stay in, expecting another roar, but this time he didn't and went to Swampert, which really sucked. So I went out to Celebi, expecting he'd use Stealth Rock, but a good prediction on his part, he used Ice Beam and did some nice damage to Celebi. And it was nice to know that it was a Mixpert for later on. So I know he's not going to stay in now, as I have Celebi out, which is faster. So I try to go for the Leech Seed on whatever he brings out. Unfortunately it misses, and I go out to Gyarados to get the Intimidate on Swellow to negate the Guts boost. He U-turns out and goes to Heracross, and I don't want to risk him using a close combat expecting the switch, because I want to have Gyarados for later on. Luckily he does what I think he would do, and Swampert takes next to nothing from it, which was really great. So now I know he has to switch out, and I was thinking to Swampert again, and this time I roared and I guessed right, and I roared out to Gengar, which kind of sucked. I might have been able to take a Shadow Ball, but I played it safe and he used Hypnosis, and so I decided not to stay in, get rid of that Hypnosis so I could use Blissey later, and luckily he used Focus Blast, and I switched out to Gengar just to use it as Death Fodder to switch in something else. It was just a great bonus that he used Focus Blast, and then I surprised him with a Destiny-Bond, which was great. So now we go back to Gyarados versus Swellow again. I get another Intimidate, and I was actually surprised that Facade did such little damage. And I made a really stupid move that really actually cost me the match there. I thought I could Dragon Dance be faster and begin a sweep of some sort, but I wasn't faster, and if I just Waterfall to take out Swellow, as you'll see later on in the match, that would have won me the match. So that was really frustrating, and at that point I didn't even think about it, because I guess I wasn't thinking I'd live, or I just thought I was faster. So that was a bad idea on my part. So he goes back to Swampert, I go to Machamp, and this is a new Chris Benoit, one that actually worked pretty good in this match. So I Dynamic Punch to get the Confusion induced, and luckily I got 2 Confusion hits in a row, I think. oh no, just one. But then the next turn he gets himself in confusion, I think. So overall, the enchant worked out pretty well, and as you can see, it took the earthquake well enough to take some more hits later on. Then he went out to Swallow, and at this point I need to sacrifice something because I didn't really have too much to take it out and nothing to outspeed it. So I went to Gyarados just to get another Intimidate on it, so I could switch in something that could maybe cushion the blow a little bit. So I went to Blissey, and I knew he was going to probably switch out, so I went with the U-turn, as I thought he'd expect the Ice Beam. And as you can see, he did, going to a Heracross with just Ice-type moves. So now, I really wanted him to close combat. I was going to use Blissey as death fodder no matter what, because if you close combat I could bring in Celebi and set up some kind of a sub-Leech Seed and maybe sweep. Unfortunately, I guess he thought that, so a good move on his part, and it's something like 39% to miss 3 Mega Horns, or sorry, 1 out of 3 Mega Horns, and he didn't miss any, which sucked, because if one missed, I would have been in a lot better position than I was. But now I took out his Heracross, but now I have nothing whatsoever to take out his Swallow. So I had to sacrifice Swampert, and here I could have made a much smarter decision and actually gave myself a chance to at least win if I went to Celebi first. But again, I guess I wasn't really thinking. I knew the Bullet Punch wouldn't one-hit KO. I was hoping, I guess, with the Bullet Punch and Burn, that would KO it, but it didn't, so that was about the game. Good game, the Shadow Projekt, and thanks for watching, everybody.
That's all, folks.